the Israel Aerospace Industries company for the Israeli Air Force in the 1960s. The Israel Aerospace Industries Necher was a copy of the Mirage 5 built by that country when, due to an arms embargo, they could not acquire the new evolved version of the Mirage 3. This aircraft was quite successful in the Yom Kippur War in 1973, but shortly thereafter it was replaced by the Kafir. And many of these were sold to Argentina and renamed. Dagger, that participated extensively in the Falklands War. The Argentine Daggers were updated several years after the war and were renamed Fincher. The story of these three is what we are going to see in a new video from Aeropedia. It all started at the end of the 60s, when the Israeli Air Force had suffered the loss of numerous aircraft during the Six-Day War in 1967. To replace them, Israel began working with French Dassault Aviation to manufacture new models of the successful Mirage 3. The Israeli Air Force was one of the largest customers of the French manufacturer Dassault Aviation, with 72 Mirage 3 interceptors purchased. The Israeli military requested Dassault to optimize the Mirage 3 for surface attack missions in the Middle East scenarios. The Mirage 5J variant made its first flight on May 19, 1967. Israel ordered a batch of 50 units. However, after a special forces raid on Beirut airport in December 1968, the French authorities decided to impose an arms embargo. The versions of how the Israelis got the plans for the Mirage 5 differ widely and range from espionage to covert aid from the French government. The truth is that the plans were already in the hands of the engineers and technicians of the Israel Aerospace Company, or Israel Aerospace Industries. In a short time, they began to work on the Israeli version of the Mirage. Many considered it a direct copy of the French fighter Mirage 5J, but the Israeli device, named Nesher, which means vulture in Hebrew, had numerous changes and improvements, from the ejection seat to the weapons and avionics. It made its first flight in September of 1969. The process continued until 1971, when deliveries began, totaling 61 aircraft. The Necher had 7 anchor points, totaling a load capacity of 3,150 kilograms, and it had an internal capacity of 3,460 liters of fuel, which could be expanded with supplementary fuel tanks. The Necher's avionics were simpler than the Mirage 3 CJs. At the request of the Israeli Air Force, the Nexus underwent a fuel evaluation sequence. They were specially configured to make them more unstable, which favored them for air-to-air combat. The sequence began with the emptying of the upper tank, located immediately behind the cockpit before the leading edge wing tanks. This resulted in a reduction of weight in the front part, which shifted the center of gravity towards the back of the plane, reducing the margin of longitudinal dynamic stability. Therefore, the plane was less stable, gaining maneuverability. It was a single-engine, single-seat design by Allen Delta. It had a maximum takeoff weight of 13,500 kilograms and had a combat range of 1,886 kilometers. With the external fuel tanks, Its maximum speed was 2,500 km per hour, or Mach 2.1, and it had 7 hardpoints for carrying up to 4,200 kilograms of weaponry. The fuselage of the Necher was identical to the Mirage 5, but there was a wide refurbishment of the avionics systems built in Israel, along with the adoption of an ejection seat. 00 Martin Baker. In the mid-70s, Argentina needed to acquire combat aircraft. But it couldn't buy from the United States, as this country had imposed an arms embargo after the coup in 1976. And it also discarded a purchase from France, as Dassault Aviation was reluctant to sell due to international pressure. The Argentine Air Force wanted to get the Israel Aerospace Industries Kafir, but it also couldn't, as this plane was equipped with American General Electric J-79 engines, and in this circumstance Israel Aerospace Industries offered the retiring Nigers from the Israeli Air Force to Argentina, with an upgrade to make them more similar to the characteristics of the Kafir, but keeping the French Snecma Atar engines. The Daggers participated in the Falklands War, where they had accumulated a total of 153 combat missions, losing 11 aircraft and 6 pilots. At the beginning of the conflict, the Argentines painted their Daggers with a 1-meter-long yellow band on the upper and lower surface and on the tail, in order to correctly identify them from their own anti-aircraft artillery. After the South Atlantic conflict, Argentina continued the Dagger upgrade project, which had been called Finger, with an avionics upgrade to the standards of the Israel Aerospace Industries CAFIR-C2. The Argentine Air Force planes ceased operations in 2015 following 43 years of service and 131,000 flight hours. Sometimes these are also confused with the Argentine Mara, which were Mirage 5, Peruvians sold almost as a gift to Argentina during the Malvinas conflict. But they came late and didn't get into combat. The Mirage 5 will have its own video, as will the Mirage 50, the Panther, and all its other derivatives.
The Aeropedia.